He had big dreams, but a bigger fear. And one day, he learned the hard way that fearing failure can cost more than failing ever will. Pause for a moment. Have you ever stopped yourself from trying just because you were afraid of failing? This story is for you. There was a young man named Daniel. Daniel was not lazy. He was not careless. In fact, he was very thoughtful. Too thoughtful. From a young age, Daniel dreamed of doing something meaningful with his life. He loved ideas. He loved imagining a better future. But whenever it came time to take action, he stopped. Daniel always asked himself, what if I fail? What if people laugh? What if I try my best and still lose? So instead of moving forward, he waited. Daniel studied hard. He learned new skills. He watched others succeed. And he told himself, I'm preparing. Soon, I'll be ready. But deep inside, it wasn't preparation. It was fear. Fear of failure. Years went by. Daniel got a safe job. Not the job he wanted. Just the job that felt safe. Every morning, he woke up with a quiet ache in his chest. Not pain. Just a soft sadness. At work, he watched others take risks. Some failed. Some succeeded. And every time someone failed, Daniel whispered to himself, see, that's why I don't try. But every time someone succeeded, his heart felt heavy. Because he knew, that could have been me. At night, Daniel lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind full of what ifs. What if I had tried earlier? What if I had believed in myself? What if fear wasn't in charge? But every morning, he chose comfort over courage. One day, Daniel met an old friend named Leo. Leo was someone Daniel admired. Not because Leo was smarter. Not because he was more talented. But because Leo tried. They sat together at a small cafe. The smell of coffee in the air. Soft music playing in the background. Leo talked about his journey. The mistakes. The failures. The nights he cried alone. And then Leo smiled and said, but I don't regret trying. Those words hit Daniel hard. Leo looked at Daniel and asked gently, are you happy? Daniel wanted to say yes. But the truth got stuck in his throat. He stayed silent. Leo didn't push. He just said one last thing before leaving. The pain of failure fades. But the pain of regret, it stays. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. For the first time, Daniel didn't fear failure. He feared something worse. Regret. He imagined himself years later. Older. Tired. Looking back at his life. And he saw a man full of unused potential. A man who played it safe. A man who never truly lived. That image scared him more than any failure ever could. He realized something painful. By avoiding failure, he was already failing himself. Fear had promised safety, but it quietly stole his dreams. A few weeks later, Daniel faced a choice. An opportunity came his way. Something he had dreamed of for years. His hands shook. His heart raced. That old voice returned. What if you fail? Daniel closed his eyes. Then another voice spoke louder. What if you don't try and regret it forever? For the first time, Daniel chose courage over comfort. He took the step. And guess what? He failed. Not completely, but enough to feel embarrassed. Enough to feel disappointed. For a moment, he felt the familiar sting. But something unexpected happened. He didn't break. He learned. He stood up the next day with more strength than before. More clarity. More confidence. Failure didn't destroy him. Fear almost did. Over time, Daniel kept going. He failed again. And again. But each failure taught him something valuable. He grew stronger, wiser, more alive. And one day, he realized something beautiful. Failure was never the enemy. Fear was. Fear kept him stuck. Fear kept him silent. Fear kept him small. But once he faced it, life opened up. Daniel didn't become perfect. He didn't become fearless. He just became brave enough to try. If you are listening to this story, ask yourself, what are you avoiding right now? What dream are you pushing away because you fear failure? Remember this. Failure hurts for a moment. Regret hurts for a lifetime. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be ready. You just need to start. Because one day, you will look back. And the only question that will matter is not, did I fail? But, did I try? Choose courage. Choose growth. Choose to live. Because fearing failure more than regret, that is the real mistake.